everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today, we're going to be looking at AI and robots.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, it's super interesting, and how they're already changing the job market. You know, it's not
Right.
science fiction anymore. This is happening.
Yeah, take care.
And we're going to talk about what you can do to prepare for it. So our guide for this deep dive is an article by Marynês Pereira.
Okay.
And she looks at how technology and human potential kind of intersect.
Yeah.
She's got a background in neuroscience, physics, and psychology. So
Wow, that's a really interesting combination.
I know, right? Like,
Yeah.
she comes at this from such a cool angle.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's going to be really interesting to kind of dig into her take on this.
It is such a timely topic, too. Like you were saying, it's not just some far-off future anymore.
Yeah,
AI is impacting jobs right now.
for sure. I think everyone's heard those headlines about robots taking over
Oh, yeah?
and maybe felt a little nervous about it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the article opens with a pretty startling statistic. An Oxford study predicted that almost half of U.S. jobs,
Wow.
like a full 47%, are at risk of automation in the coming decades.
That's a big number.
I know, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that is a little scary.
It is. But then the article goes on to share that the World Economic Forum actually predicts that while a significant number of jobs will disappear,
Okay.
they said 85 million by 2025,
Okay.
but an even larger number, 97 million new jobs will appear.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like this,
So there's hope.
yeah, there's hope. It's not just like all the jobs are going away.
Right.
It's just that things are going to look really different.
Exactly. And it's all about being ready for that shift and, adapting and preparing for this new world where humans and machines are working together.
Yeah, like a partnership.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so not a robot apocalypse, but definitely like a period of massive change
Sure.
and adjustment. So what really stood out to you about Pereira's take on all this?
Well, one of the things I found really interesting was how she debunks this myth that it's only blue-collar jobs that are going to be affected.
Right, like the manufacturing, transportation jobs.
Exactly. The ones that we've always heard are most at risk.
Mm-hmm.
But Pereira makes it clear that this is going to impact all sorts of industries and professions.
So even those like quote-unquote safe white-collar jobs are on the table.
Absolutely. And she gives some fascinating examples that really drive that point home.
Oh, like what?
So did you know that some financial firms are now using AI algorithms to make split-second investment decisions?
No way.
Yeah, decisions that used to be made by, humans with years of experience.
Wow.
And it's not just finance either. Software is being used to assess loan risk in the lending industry.
Mm.
And there's even AI programs like RS Intelligence that are basically acting like lawyers.
I did read about that AI lawyer.
It's wild, right?
It's crazy, like, how much things are changing and how quickly.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
It seems like any job that involves data analysis or making predictions or even just following a set of rules is potentially vulnerable to this.
Exactly. So the key takeaway for anyone listening is that no matter what you do,
Right.
you need to be thinking about how to adapt and stay ahead of the curve.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Well, Pereira outlines 5 specific strategies in her article.
Okay, let's dive into those.
All right, so the first one she calls upskilling and reskilling,
Okay.
which is basically learning the kinds of skills that AI, at least for now, struggles with.
Like what kinds of things?
Well, complex problem-solving, creative thinking, anything that requires, ingenuity and that human touch.
Those uniquely human skills.
Exactly. And those are the skills that are going to be really valuable in the future workplace.
Regardless of what the specific jobs are.
Exactly.
So like a practical example of upskilling.
Sure. So let's say you've always been interested in learning how to code.
Okay.
Or maybe taking a graphic design course.
Yeah.
Those would both fall under that umbrella of upskilling,
Mm.
and they could make you more adaptable.
Okay, so it's about seeking out those areas where humans still have an edge over AI
Right.
and building your skill set in those areas.
Exactly.
Got it. What's the next strategy?
So the second strategy is specialization.
Okay.
Instead of being afraid of AI, think about becoming an expert in a field that works with AI.
Ooh, like becoming an AI whisperer.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
I like it.
So this could be anything from data management to UX design for AI interfaces.
So many new and evolving roles.
Right.
Yeah, so how does someone even begin to figure out what kind of specialization might be right for them?
Well, it's all about exploring your interests and seeing where your current skills might intersect with this world of AI.
Okay.
So maybe you're passionate about making technology more user-friendly.
Uh-huh.
That could lead you down the path of UX design.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Or perhaps you're fascinated by the ethical considerations of AI.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a whole other avenue to explore.
It sounds like a lot of it comes down to curiosity and just being willing to experiment a little.
Absolutely. And that actually ties in nicely with the third strategy, which is continuous learning.
Oh, okay.
AI and robots are evolving so rapidly that the need to constantly learn and adapt has never been greater.
So it's not enough to just like learn one new skill and call it a day.
Right, you've got to be committed to staying on top of trends and advancements.
How do we do that?
Well, it could involve reading industry publications, attending webinars, taking online courses, or even just having conversations with people who are on the cutting edge of AI.
So cultivating that mindset of lifelong learning.
Precisely. And that's going to be essential for the future of work no matter what.
Okay, so we've covered upskilling, specializing, and continuous learning.
Right.
What's next?
Okay, so the fourth strategy focuses on those uniquely human skills, the ones that are really hard to replicate with AI. Think communication, collaboration, leadership, emotional intelligence.
This is where we humans really shine.
Exactly. Even in a world where AI is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, we still need people who can communicate effectively, work together in teams, and navigate those complex social dynamics.
I can see how those skills would be even more valuable in a workplace where you might be collaborating with both humans and AI.
Absolutely. And this is another area where you can actively develop your skill set.
Like how?
Maybe take a workshop on active listening.
Okay.
Or you could practice giving presentations to improve your public speaking.
So it's not just about technical skills, it's about those interpersonal skills that make us human.
Right. It's about connection and building relationships.
Okay, I like it. What's the fifth strategy?
So the fifth one is all about embracing that entrepreneurial spirit.
Ooh, I love this one.
Right.
Tell me more.
So she argues that AI isn't just disrupting existing jobs, it's creating new needs and markets
Okay.
that are ripe for innovation.
So instead of just trying to fit into the existing job market, why not create something new?
Exactly.
It's like AI is opening up all these possibilities.
It is. It really is.
That didn't even exist before.
And maybe you've already got an idea brewing in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now might be the perfect time to explore it and see how you could use AI to bring it to life.
So if you're feeling entrepreneurial, don't be afraid to just jump in and experiment.
Exactly. Who knows, you might end up creating the next big thing.
You never know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great place to kind of wrap up this first part of our deep dive.
Yeah, definitely.
We've talked about, some of the anxieties around AI, but also some of the exciting possibilities and opportunities.
And how to prepare for them.
Exactly, and how to prepare for them. We'll be back in just a minute with part 2 of this deep dive on AI and the future of work. So stay tuned. Dive into part 2 of our deep dive on AI and the future of work.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So we've talked about how AI is going to impact a huge range of jobs, and we looked at Pereira's 5 strategies for adapting to this new world of work. But I'm curious, from your perspective, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about AI and the future of work?
Well, I think one of the biggest ones is that AI is just going to completely replace humans in the workplace.
Yeah, like a total takeover.
Right, like this us versus them scenario where the robots are coming for our jobs.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in that fear-mongering kind of narrative.
Definitely. But Pereira actually paints a very different picture.
She does.
Yeah, she's really focused on this idea of a human-AI partnership.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, a collaborative future where AI actually helps us to work better and more efficiently.
So it's not about humans being replaced by AI. It's more about figuring out how we can leverage AI to amplify our own abilities and
Hmm.
do things that we couldn't do before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really crucial shift in perspective for anyone who's feeling anxious or uncertain about what's to come.
Right. So if we imagine this future workplace where humans and AI are working side by side, what might that actually look like? Well, think about it this way. Imagine having an AI assistant that could take care of all of those like tedious, repetitive tasks that currently eat up so much of our time,
Oh, okay.
like data entry, scheduling appointments, even like drafting routine emails.
It's like having a super efficient personal assistant that never gets tired.
Exactly. And by freeing us from all of that, AI could really allow us to focus on the things that humans are truly good at.
The things that AI can't do.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Things that require creativity, critical thinking, and real problem-solving skills.
So in a sense, AI could actually help us make work more meaningful and engaging.
I think so, by allowing us to tap into those uniquely human capabilities.
Yeah. So it's not just about surviving the AI revolution. It's about using it to actually create a better, more human-centered workplace.
Absolutely.
Now, earlier you mentioned that some people see this as like a very adversarial relationship between humans and AI, but it sounds like Pereira thinks that AI can actually enhance our humanity.
Mm-hmm. If we approach it in the right way. Right, because all technology is really just a reflection of our own human creativity and ingenuity.
It is, and AI is no different. It's a tool that we've created, and we get to decide how we use it.
Right. It's about taking ownership of our future and using AI to build a world that works better for everyone.
And that actually brings up another point that Pereira talks about in her article, which is this idea of using AI to create more equitable and inclusive workplaces.
Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about that.
So one of the things she highlights is AI's potential to level the playing field in terms of access to opportunities.
Okay.
Like, imagine AI-powered platforms that could connect job seekers with jobs, regardless of their location, background, or socioeconomic status.
But that could be huge for breaking down those barriers that have always existed.
Right. And AI can also be used to create more inclusive work environments.
Oh, how so?
Well, for example, AI tools could be used to identify and mitigate bias in hiring practices, or to create personalized learning experiences that really cater to individual needs.
So it's about really tailoring those opportunities to each person?
Exactly. And making sure that everyone has a chance to thrive.
That's really cool. It sounds like AI has the potential to make a real difference in terms of diversity and inclusion in the workplace.
It really does. And I think that's one of the most exciting parts of this whole conversation.
Yeah, it's not just about adapting to change. It's about using AI to build a better future for everyone.
Exactly. A future where everyone have a seat at the table.
Love it. Okay, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I wanted to touch on one more key theme that Pereira emphasizes, which is this idea of adapting and evolving alongside AI.
Yes. Such a crucial point.
Because in this world where technology is always changing, our ability to learn and adapt and even reinvent ourselves is more important now than ever before.
It really is. It's not even just about specific skills. It's about having a mindset of constant learning and growth.
Our growth mindset.
Exactly. Being curious and open to new ideas and pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zones.
Embracing the unknown.
Yes.
Yeah.
And seeing change not as a threat, but as an opportunity to grow.
I love that. And at the end of the day, the future of work isn't just something that's happening to us.
Right.
We're creating it together.
We are. And the more we embrace this adaptability and this commitment to learning, the more prepared we'll be to navigate all of the challenges and opportunities that come our way.
I love that. So much to think about.
Definitely food for thought.
All right, well, let's take a quick break and then we'll come back for the final part of our deep dive on AI and the future of work.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into AI and the future of work.
Yeah, it's gone by fast.
It has. It's amazing to think about how much the world of work has already changed just in the past few years.
Right. And it seems like AI is only going to accelerate that change even more.
For sure. As we wrap up today, I think it's important to remember that we've really only scratched the surface of this topic.
Definitely. We've covered a lot of ground, but there's so much more to explore.
Pereira's article gave us a great framework and some key strategies to think about.
A good starting point. Yeah, but there's a whole universe of information and possibilities out there.
It's really up to each of us to kind of take this conversation and run with it.
Exactly. Keep asking questions, stay curious, and be open to those new possibilities that are emerging.
Because the future of work isn't some fixed destination. It's something that we're actively creating through the choices we make and the actions we take.
And how we adapt.
Right. And speaking of adapting, you mentioned earlier this idea of AI having the potential to create more equitable and inclusive workplaces.
Yeah, I think that's such a crucial point to remember. Because as we navigate this whole technological revolution, we can't lose sight of those core values,
Right.
yeah?
Absolutely. Fairness, equity, opportunity for all.
Exactly. So it's not just about adapting to change, it's about using AI to build a better world of work, one that's more inclusive, more accessible, and ultimately more human-centered.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And that's what I find so exciting about this conversation. It's not just about the technology itself.
It's about the impact it has on people.
It's about how we use it to create a future that we actually want to live in. A future that aligns with our values and aspirations.
A future that works for everyone.
Exactly.
I love that. So as we close out our deep dive today, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, I'm ready.
And it goes back to this idea of continuous learning that we've been talking about.
Oh yeah, never stop learning.
It's so important because in this world that's changing so rapidly, the ability to learn and adapt is like a superpower.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like a key to unlocking all sorts of possibilities.
So if you take away one thing from this conversation, let it be this.
Okay.
Never stop learning, never stop growing, and never be afraid to embrace new challenges.
Because those challenges are what help us evolve and become even better versions of ourselves.
Yeah, and remember, the future isn't something that's happening to us.
We're all in this together.
We're creating it together.
So let's make it a future that we can all be proud of.
I love that. A huge thank you to Marynês Pereira for her insightful article that sparked this whole conversation.
Such a great piece.
You can find a link to her work in the show notes. And as always, we love to hear from you.
So reach out.
Share your thoughts, your questions, your insights on social media.
Use the hashtag #DeepDiveAI.
We love connecting with you all. Until next time, keep diving deep and keep exploring the frontiers of knowledge. This is The Deep Dive signing off.